SpeekyGeeky's TMNT Character Spotlight. Hi, everybody. Welcome to SpeekyGeeky. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Geeky. Today, we are going to be discussing and giving a big ol' spotlight to NECA Archie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures toy line. Over the years, we've tried to bring you episode after episode of all different lengths and realms of Turtles. Sometimes those episodes were Mirage, sometimes Fred Wolf, sometimes 2012, but historically, and you know we love diving deep into all the history here, those would focus on around 6 or so rad characters within each offering. Over the years, however, we've had a myriad of folks take time out of their busy days to ask us if we might be able to keep all the deep diving fun, but break it down a bit, because there's a big difference between finding 15 minutes at a time to learn about one exciting character versus over an hour to hear about 6 or more. We understand incredibly well that an hour or more is sometimes a long commitment then doable in this breakneck speed world we occupy. So we figured, heck, we think there's a way to meet folks where they're at. However they'd like to view our deep dives, by creating both a long-form episode and a series of shorter, broken-down character-specific episodes. So that way, we're putting the turtle power of choice in the viewer's hands on how they would like to interact on all our dorky character content goodness. Plus, this way, if you like a specific character and want others to know how freaking bodacious they are, boom! You can share a quick story with them versus throwing a full-on shelf of encyclopedia books their way. That said, we'd love for fans to weigh in on who you would like to see covered in our TMNT deep dives too. So be sure to let us know in the chat and in the comments below, because who knows? Some of your choices may end up making an appearance or two in one of our upcoming episodes as well. So welcome to our new-ish Spotlight series, where every episode we choose a different character from the various worlds of Turtles, and eventually other shows as well, to deconstruct their origins for your viewing entertainment. A reminder here too that each of these episodes can be found in their fuller form within other episodes within our channel as well, which we'll always be sure to conveniently drop links for within the video and the description. So if that is your preferred way of hearing more, by golly, we got you covered there too. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy hearing more about a specific character within the world of Turtles than you could ever want to know. Codename Chameleon.
Codename Chameleon. We want him so.
Call him a morph, call him a secret agent, call him toy ready, call him way overdue to be in our ever-growing Archie collection. This character, in addition to having a trench coat for days, which would pair so incredibly well with all of the undercover turtles already in the Fred Wolf line, had an aesthetically overall cool look to him, and happened to show up a handful of times within the Archie series with one of the coolest and one of the most underutilized origin stories within that series. Though many folks might be familiar with his iconic cover Against a Brick Wall with Raphael as a nod to the Mirage, Me, Myself, and I issue with Raph and Casey, quite a few more may not know too much about this rad character, and we at SpeekyGeeky thought we'd help fix that. Because, holy moly, this is a character worth knowing about in a deep dive that will leave you both shaken and stirred. Well, what the heck does that mean, Geeky? That sounded a bit like something someone might say before a restraining order was put into place. You creepy scamp, you. So congrats are in order, because you managed to pull off sounding both menacing and needlessly bizarre at the same time. I sure hope you plan to elaborate before we have to call the authorities, is what we assume many of you sitting at home might be thinking to yourselves right about now. And, well, okay, fair enough. But stay with us for a moment here, as this precise turn of phrase should make a bit more sense once we dive a little further into the origins of this character. Okay, let's take this from the top. Agent Chameleon is a smooth-talking, James Bond-esque double agent with what we can only assume are Peter Lorre-inspired eyes, who first encounters the Turtles after he's accused of stealing classified top-secret weapons plans from the United Nations. But the kicker here is that this agent isn't actually a chameleon, at least not yet. This living embodiment of irony at its finest is nicknamed Chameleon because of his ability to blend in with his surroundings, and thanks to an encounter with the Shredder gone wrong, finds himself mutating into a bona fide shape-shifting chameleon. So for anyone keeping an unofficial score, that's one more we can now chalk up for mutagen acting as an unexpected workplace enhancement drug. If you're anything like us, we're sure you have lots of questions right about now. Like, Are we supposed to be rooting this guy on? We were just told he stole top secret weapons plans. Is he supposed to be a sympathetic character? Is it ever noted that his legitimate human name maybe sounds similar to Chameleon perhaps? Like how Agent 007 was James Bond? Maybe something like Cam Million? Otherwise, how can they justify how coincidental his codename was to what he mutated into? That's like if we had a character who turned into a manta ray whose name was Jack Finney or something. Oh, yeah, on second thought, that was pretty on point for the Archie books. So for anyone keeping score here, codename Chameleon is another lizard mutant that really only showed up within the Archie world. Though, technically, he also appeared in the Random House book, but that was essentially just an adaptation of his appearance within the Archie comic. So we're still gonna go ahead and count it as Archie only. Yep, a Mr. Lizard over here never appeared in the original cartoon or Mirage. Though, in Mirage, we did see other cool lizards, like Shogun Shoei and King Komodo. And in Fred Wolf, we saw other rad reptiles in the form of Algernon, Mona Lisa, Ray, Grunt, if only momentarily, and of course Mondo, who also appears in Archie as well. But none of those lizards had the abilities we saw with Codename, with his menagerie of abilities to change shape, turn invisible, and move his eyes a full 360 degrees to assess threats from any direction and ensure no baddie would ever get the drop on him. At least, if those were skills the others possessed, they decided not to share them with the class. Aside from the more recent revelation that Mondo can camouflage himself within the IDW series. But come on. If you know you had powers like that, you'd want to show them off at least once or twice, right? So we're going to go off dead body film logic here, where we need to have seen those abilities or they don't exist. With the reveal that we are now getting an absolutely gorgeous Mondo Gecko figure soon from the Archie line, it might be pretty swell to have some additional cold-blooded options from the comic to keep him company on our shelves. How do we see this super cool cold-blooded master of disguise coming to us should NECA decide to give it some due love? If it was a 2-pack, it could go the Professor Perry route, where he could be duped up with a translucent version of himself, perhaps sans clothes, or if a single pack, it could go the Playmates Invisible Man Mikey route with a second translucent head to recreate the same effect. The eyes could get the live-action Tokan Razar treatment, allowing for the ability to pose them in all sorts of fun and silly ways. And for accessories, we could see him coming with secret agent gear, like binoculars, a removable trench coat, a suitcase, and a dossier with weapons plans, as well as various things he transformed into within the comic, including a lizard mummy sarcophagus, extra hands where one becomes a dog, another becomes a battering ram a la Batman's Clayface, him transformed as a gargoyle, as a wood crate, a studio camera, and an extra hollowed out torso that can imprison other figures. Since we are already shooting for the moon here, perhaps we might also see swappable parts where he could transform back and forth into his human secret agent self as well. SpeekyGeeky's TMNT polls. Since we're already talking about wholly new characters in plastic, we figured we would take a moment to ask you, the viewer, who you would like to see in one of our upcoming videos. We've been running polls on our YouTube community page as well as our SpeekyGeeky Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit pages as to which TMNT characters from various iterations we might want to see as toys. Here are some options from our latest polls, which you can weigh in on here in the comments or head on over to any of our socials for the full list of option names to weigh in over there as well. And stay tuned because these winning options and more may very well appear in an upcoming TMNT deep dive or 2, or 10. There are also some incredibly talented TMNT customizers who are already creating some of those characters who appear on our polls. And it is a beautiful thing to see. Here are just a few of those absolutely creative folks that you are definitely going to want to keep up with, so make sure to follow them on their socials as well. Don't forget, we mentioned this last episode and it's still not too late, but we'd love to feature your amazing turtle art in an upcoming episode. For submissions, head on over to our SpeekyGeeky official Instagram page or tag us in the post with the hashtag SpeekyGeekyTMNTFanArt. Again, this is open to all ages, and we just ask that submissions keep in mind that it should be all ages appropriate content. Where else can you find Mr. Geeky in the coming months? Even though we are hard at work putting together a handful of geeky new deep dives and interviews together for you this very minute, never you mind how we know what time of day you are watching this, Buster. Just trust us. If it's in an hour of a day that ends in day, we're probably working hard on it. SpeekyGeeky's very own Mr. Geeky, hey, that's me, still managing to make the rounds all over the YouTubes to spread his dorkiness far and wide. And yep, that sure did sound way grosser than we intended, didn't it? First up, over on our all-ages friendly sister channel, Geeky Jr., for all those of you who appreciate the sound of a voice that can only be described as if nails on a chalkboard met Golem from Lord of the Rings, you're in luck. because Mr. Geeky tries his best on all sorts of nostalgic classic stories with narrations and voices for all your little geeklings and adults who are young at heart. We're talking characters from Sesame Street like Ernie, Bert, Rover, Big Bird, Cookie Monster, Wonder Pets, Daniel Tiger, Thomas the Train, Yo Gabba Gabba, Rubba Dubbers, and so much more. You can also find SpeekyGeeky lending his voice to some upcoming Mirage 2003, 2012, and Rise TMNT comic read-alongs on Teddy Gaming Review's bodacious channel here, as the voice of Professor Kaori on the fan-made audio adaptation of the hit fantasy series The Fourth Wing over on the astoundingly talented Maddie Moore's channel here, and finally, we'll be geeking out and dishing on all the current TMNT news on Turtle Talk, as well as helping some rad figures from their plastic confinement on Grippin' and Rippin' over on Dave Wonder's channel here. Oh, one last thing. We've got a ton of neat and meaningful originals we've got cooking up for fans of the channel. One of which we thought you might appreciate getting a little sneak peek on. So, here is your first glimpse of our SpeekyGeeky fan-made TMNT series that is coming soon to the channel in motion comic form and will be available in a very limited quantity print run exclusively as giveaways at conventions through our marathon stream over on our good friend and host of Turtle Talk, Dave Wonder's channel, and in our online shop once we get that up and running. Well, there you have it. That concludes part 1 of our TMNT Spotlight series. But don't stray too far from the sewer lair, because part 2 is right around the corner. We have no doubt you have some characters that make the tippy top of your list as well that you are stoked about seeing. So make sure to make your hopes known and join the discussion in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to sub up, give the video a like, and share it with anyone you know who would appreciate these types of videos. Also, make sure to check out the description for some other links that lead to some expanded similar content we think you'll probably enjoy quite a bit. We realize you could have gone anywhere and you chose to nerd out with us, and we appreciate that. So, as always, I am Mr. Geeky, and until next week, TMNT Spotlight Speaky, keep it geeky, folks.